Hello there, my friend, and welcome back to my channel. You caught me yesterday when I was getting metaphysical and philosophical. That sometimes happens in life, especially if you went through that gate with the sign on top of it, which reads 60 years old, and then you count the years. Yeah, 1 week appears to be like a day, whilst when you were young, a day sometimes gave you the impression that it is a week. That is the concept of time. It is purely theoretical. People invented clocks to master time. Let me tell you, they don't. They just look for security. That's what it is. A wristwatch, I stopped wearing those recently. A wristwatch gives you the impression to be in control, also of time, because you know what time it is. And that also is, at least in my understanding, an illusion. But well, I was talking about travels yesterday, and I thought, well, let's do one on top of that in a situation where there are no adventures in my life currently. And that from time to time is a good thing. But be reassured, I'm not going to give you metaphysical and philosophical stuff every day, every week. No, that is not what this channel is about. But from time to time, as this is the log of my life, I would like to share some intimate moments and share something of myself. Like, who am I? That is a question, by the way, that I ask people in seminars. After a short while, I ask people, who are you? And they give me their name. And I said, no, I know your name. It's on the presence list. And then they tell me what they are doing. I said, well, I know in what company I'm working for currently, and I know what you're doing in life. I know what your name is. I know what you're doing in life. And that was not my question. My question is not, what's your name and what do you do in life? I would like to know who you are. Silence the most often. And people cannot give an answer. Very, very few can. Like, I am the proud mother of 3 children, 1 boy, 2 girls. And then I know whom I am dealing with. The rest of them are flabbergasted, confronted with that highly difficult question, which is, who am I? If you don't know who you are, don't dream, linking back to yesterday, that you will ever discover in a trip, a long journey or whatever, to find what you are looking for. And that is basically, who am I as compared to the world? Because that's what travel also is. You can see the differences in people and cultures based on your own. That is a very normal thing. We need a measuring tool that is telling us who we are and what other people are. But be aware, the measuring tool should be your own and not the tool of other people, because they are bound to give an answer to the question which will not always correspond to what you would like to be. And that is another difference in life. You can know who you are and you can aspire to something that you want to be. Travel sometimes does it for people, sometimes it doesn't, adventure and so on. And anyways, what is adventure? I'm sitting at home, I'm unsupervised. My wife will come back tonight from a skiing trip, her little adventure. And I wasn't adventurous at all. I was binge watching movies, I was doing YouTube clips, I was reading, I was doing many things, walking my dog and contemplating life, which, by the way, you do more and more the older you become. But well, that is part of life and the concept of time. What is old, what is young, what is adventure? Which reminds me of, let me tell you an anecdote of what adventure can be. I was teaching at the departments for social science of the universities of Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City, formerly Saigon, for many, many years. Sometimes 2, often 4 weeks a year. And I discovered that wonderful country, not the language. I tried it, I failed miserably. I discovered the country, and one aspect is the language, as I said yesterday. Another aspect is the cuisine, the food. Tell me what you eat, and I tell you who you are. And I can tell you there's an ongoing battle between people who love Asia and that rich culture, between what cuisine is better. Is it Thai? Is it Chinese? Is it Vietnamese? I can tell you anyways that the cuisine down there in Vietnam can be extremely, extremely delicious. And their concept of food is totally different to ours. In a hotel, you can get white bread, you can get a toast, and a full British breakfast if you want to. I, for my part, started with the concept of these Asian people who say, like, well, warm food is best for your body because it doesn't need to be heated up in the stomach. That is no adventure for me. I'm curious concerning cuisine, and I even tasted food in that country that I would never, ever, ever eat in my life again, including snake, which tasted like a rubbery chicken, not more, not less. A beautiful king cobra was killed because of the hunger of tourists and locals who invited me. I wouldn't repeat the experience, and some innards are not really to the taste of a Westerner. But anyways, in the morning before teaching, I had a soup. I had a noodle soup, which warms your body, which can even replace a coffee, which I drank anyways. Back then I still smoked, and a coffee needs a cigarette and vice versa. At least back then it did. But before that, the soup with the right spices warmed my body, and I was ready for the day. And then it happened at Hanoi. I remember vividly, there was that German tourist with his wife. He came to breakfast, and a German can recognize a German from a mile away. He sat down, then ordered coffee, and then out of several plastic bags, he produced his breakfast, which consisted of German bread, German Wurst, sausage, and several other things. Let me tell you, I didn't make fun of him, and I don't look down on him because he did that, because it touches the very concept of who you are, for a good reason, for a very good reason, what you don't want to become from time to time, because you want to stay the way you are, and what your concept of adventure is, because adventure requires curiosity. Curiosity paired with adventure demands risk-taking, which then is opposed to safety and security. So if you want to be safe and secure, you should stay at home, and even there's a danger of your house burning down. But anyways, my point is, with that man at Vietnam and his wife, they shared their German breakfast instead of trying out the local cuisine. I was able to take a look at that concept of adventure, because for them, having a simple noodle soup which was unbelievably delicious was too adventurous. Let's not do that. Let's stay in the safety of our being, translated into food, and be somewhere else at the same time. they probably concentrated on, I don't know if he or she was there for work or tourism. They concentrated, I would assume, on other things. That, by the way, as I was working for NATO for 5 years of my life, is also the American concept, because Americans abroad tend to prefer McDonald's to the local cuisine. They are not all like that, but I would say the mainstream American will go to a Burger King, a McDonald's, or something else. That is identifiable as American. That is their safety, their hook, their pillar in a foreign country, which anyways they are visiting, and very often they are very ecstatic about European countries and other countries. But still, even people where you can say that their forefathers went to America because they didn't give a dime about, which didn't exist by then, they gave a dime about security. They just wanted to flee Europe, which was full of laws and do this, do that, don't do that, pay your taxes. Sounds familiar? Yeah, even these people who have that kind of ancestry, they need a safety hook, which is not a bad thing. So life serves everyone depending on what you want, what you don't want, and who you are. I promise it's the last of these ones. Leave a comment if you feel like it, if you like what I'm doing. Spread the news, share my oeuvre, and come back again, I would say.